Well, we will be on the grounds. We'll also get reaction from industry players and also get their thoughts about what is happening currently. This is just in Accra, so for people across the country, they're joining the campaign on social media. And that's why you have to stick and stay with us here on Newstex. Pressure is piling on government to #free the citizens to demand the release of the Stop Galamsey Now protesters who have been arrested and currently in police custody. Well, that protest is underway and my colleague is live on the ground, Kenneth Jesse. He's been engaging some of the protesters now. Let's cross over live. So those are live pictures from the demonstration, and the protesters, they want government to immediately release all the protesters that were arrested during the Stop Galamsey Now protest. Now, this protest is free the protesters now. They want them to be released. They want them out of police cells. And they're not alone. We've seen a statement from political parties like the CPP, which they are also demanding an abridgment of time. They want this procedure in court to be fast-tracked. They've sent a petition to the Chief Justice, and that is also happening at the time where a lot of people are joining their voices to call for government to release these individuals. We've heard from an independent presidential candidate, Kofi Kranting. He says that in fact, government rather should arrest leadership of this government and they should be behind bars and not the protesters. He also wants them to be released. He served notice yesterday here on Newstex that he would join the protesters. And we've seen a lot of influencers on the ground as well trying to get their voices heard. They want these protesters released. The police in their statement told us that 54 protesters were arrested and they are currently all behind bars. We are waiting what the court would say when they reappear for the trial proper. And so let's cross over back to Kenneth Jesse. I'm hoping we have better connection now. He's been engaged some of the protesters. Let's listen in. Kenneth, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great. I see you've been engaging.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me, Faustina?
Loud and clear.
You fight at the line. Oh no,
Come again?
I can hear you loud and clear. You've been engaging the protesters so far. I can hear you, Kenneth. I'm hoping you can hear me. You've been engaging the protesters so far. Just take us away, engage them further.
Right. Okay. I've been engaging most of them, as you've rightly mentioned. Most of them have been telling me about the menace Galamsey has been causing to the country. And then most of them also are calling for the release of the 53 protesters who were remanded for 2 weeks by the Accra Circuit Court. They're expected to reappear in court on the 8th and 11th of October. That is what we know so far, but if you look at this protest so far, it's been very peaceful. The police are protecting the people. There's heavy security presence here. Ahead of me, you have a lot of police officers. To my left, to my right, and behind me as well. The demonstrators have paused for a moment, as they have been doing throughout. So when they go, they can walk for about 5 minutes, pause momentarily, have a conversation with their members, and then continue. And that is what they are doing now. And on top of this bridge, you can see some of them also standing there with a banner with the inscription, "Say no to Galamsey." Say no to Galamsey. Most of them are bystanders. Most of them are also part of the demonstration. So the leadership is telling them to stay here for a while before they continue. And of course, throughout, that's what's been happening. Right now, they are reciting the Guinean anthem. Yes, you can hear the protesters reciting the Ghanaian national anthem. Of course, the protesters and the police have agreed that this protest is going to be peaceful. They've assured the police that they are going to ensure that the protesters are going to be peaceful. And the police have also warned them that if it is not peaceful, they will use all legal means to disperse the crowd. So in a significant move, once again, all of them, or at least most of them, are down on their knees reciting the national anthem in Twi. They first recited it in English, and now they are down on their knees reciting it in Twi. They're up again. There's a continuous recitation of the Ghanaian national anthem by the protesters. Right, and now they're singing "Arise, Ghana Youth, for your country." Now, most of the people that are engaging in this demonstration are young men and women who have turned up in their numbers. Their demands are two. They want an end to illegal mining, and also they want the protesters to be released. You want to talk to us?
Yes.
You say you want to talk to us? Okay, we have someone here who wants to speak to us briefly. Let's speak to the gentleman here. Please come here so that we can talk to you. I mean, I've seen that you've been taking a few photographs here and there. Why have you decided to join this protest?
It's all because of the say no to Galamsey now and then free the citizens, because our water bodies are being polluted and then innocent people are being arrested, which is not supposed to be done, because the effects of Galamsey is not good. When the effects of Galamsey is not good. So we are here today to protest, so they will have mercy on us and then stop the Galamsey, or they put measures in place to curb it. It's either they curb it or they stop it at all. Yeah, that's the main reason why we are here today.
Okay, and then some are also calling for the release of the 53 protesters who have been remanded into prison and police custody. Do you have anything to say about that?
Yes, my friend was arrested, Glenn. Yes, Glenn is arrested, and he's my friend. So I want the government to free him, because he's innocent. He just went out to protest, and then we didn't know what happened, and then he just got arrested. So we are pleading they should just release him for us. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. That's one of the protesters who has just spoken to us, calling for two things: the release of the remanded protesters, the 53 who were remanded into police and prison custodies, and then also an immediate end to Galamsey. Right, so the leadership is addressing them once again. Let's get closer.
We have joined this protest to present a message, and the message is two. One, we want mining, unlawful and illegal mining activities be banned with immediate effect. Two, our brothers and sisters who have been kidnapped, our brothers and sisters have been kidnapped and nobody is talking. Our brothers and sisters, IGP, you are not worthy of that position. Judiciary, we urge you. Judiciary, we urge you. Never co-sign the unlawfulness of the police. You must release our brothers. We have a message.
Focus on the banner at the
We have. Let's move.
Say no to Galamsey. The media focus on the banner.
Okay, so, I mean, they paused momentarily to speak to the protesters, and of course, they are pleading with the judiciary and the Ghana Police Service to see to the release of the 53 Stop Galamsey Now protesters that were remanded into police and prison custodies, respectfully. So now the march continues after a brief pause. They are continuing with the march now.
Right.
Our media, they'll be tired. We need to get them at the tier.
Yeah. Can we speak to you?
Yeah, you can always speak.
Yes, I mean, I can see that you are part of the leaders of this group.
Yes, sure.
I mean, so far, how far?
Okay, so great. We are grateful to all true citizens for coming out to support this worthy cause. Now, this is evident that the Galamsey and other unconstitutional conducts are not affecting just some of us, but it's actually affecting everyone. And we are proud that a lot of people, even though it's a weekday, a lot of people are out here on the street to register their displeasure against the menace of Galamsey. And we are proud. I want to say that. And I want to say this is the beginning of true democracy, not the sham we've been practicing as democracy. Because a true democracy should give the will and power to the people to voice out their displeasure, to stand up to unconstitutional conduct. And I've always been saying that one day I want to wake up to a Ghana where I will be able to defend my country against my government or any form of government. And that is what we are saying now. We are proud and we are calling on all those who are not yet here to come join us. If they wouldn't be able to make it today, we have tomorrow and most importantly Saturday. They should all come out on Saturday. We want to shut down the city for our lives. This is not just any protest. It is not just a march. It is not just any stand to put our voices out there, but it's a desperate cry for survival. It's a desperate cry for survival against deliberate attempt to destroy our land, our water, and our lives. Thank you.
I mean, when you walk for about 5 minutes, you pause, and then most of you fall to your knees. What's the significance of that?
No, so we want to put the severity of the problem out there. Now we can't, when we march and we sing, it's just like we are happy and we are just moving along. But then kneeling down signifies that no, we are at a point where we are choking. We are at a point where we are choking and we can't stand anymore. Go. So it's just a symbolic, deep symbolic significance to the severity of the problem and the devastation that is being caused by Galamsey, and then the destruction of the spirit of democracy. Look at how our comrades were arrested, were abducted, kidnapped, detained, denied bail by the judiciary, and even denied food, water, and access to their legal representations. Even just as yesterday, they moved people from their old cells to new cells just to make them to create some inconvenience for the lawyers. And this is barbaric, this is tyrannical, and this is not a true democracy. Thank you.
The Attorney General spoke yesterday and indicated that at the next court hearing, which is expected to be on the 8th and 11th of October respectively, there should not be an opposition to a bail when this matter is called back in court. Good news?
So let me tell you, he's just trying to eat up his words. He's directly involved in the case, and we all know that. Now you have infringed on the rights of the people already. So calling out this does not clean the damage or does not whitewash the damage that is already done. Now, infringement is as bad as assassination and murder, and we should all know that. Infringement on our basic human rights is as bad as murder and assassination. And you can't do that and just go scot-free. And you think, okay, I come out and put up a communique to just throw the narratives away that we are concerned. They have never been concerned. And I want to say it on authority. Leadership has never been concerned about the life of the people they took an oath to serve. Even look at the Ghana police, who says that they want to serve in integrity, or they are serving in integrity. See, since I started having confrontation with the Ghana police, they have never ever served in integrity. Maybe today's case will be different, but all the confrontation I've had with them, they've never served in integrity. And that is an abuse of power, abuse of position. And we can't sit down anymore. We can't go to sleep. We can't go to bed and sleep with our eyes closed when our lives are choking out of us. When the environment is being destroyed, when our resources are being destroyed slowly, at a fast pace, and our lives are being destroyed slowly. Look at Galamsey. Look at Galamsey. The use of mercury, cyanide, arsenic, lead, and other harmful chemicals. And these are heavy metals. If any chemical student is out there knows that these are heavy chemicals and very dangerous to our system. But that is what we have as a norm. And the ordinary Ghanaian is accepting it because he is partisan or because he is aligned. And when we stood up against this menace and this stupidity and this rot in our country, you tell us that we have interest. Yes, I have an interest. And my interest is to see a better Ghana. And that's my fucking interest.
You spoke about the Ghana police. Let's talk about them. I saw you engage with them before you started this procession. What was the engagement about between you and the police?
Okay, so I'm the lead convener. And then we've had some engagement with them. So I was just reminding them of their responsibility. That, okay, so we've had some engagements and you table some things. Now, do not deviate from it. We want to see proper policing here. And any infringement will not be taken lightly because we had an engagement. And you assured us that you are going to play your role as Ghana Police. Now, the Public Order Act does not give the police any other responsibility than to safeguard public order and public safety when it comes to protests. They are not supposed to lead the protest. So when I saw them caging us in the protest, I went to them and I asked them, what is happening here? Because it seems as if you want to cage us and prevent the message from going out there, and this is not democracy. And they have to do the corrections.
The police put out a statement just yesterday that you have assured them that this will be a peaceful protest, and that if it is not, they are going to use all meaningful force to disperse the crowd. Are you assuring us today that it's going to be a peaceful protest today?
Yes, protest is protest, okay? Now, we cannot describe anything as a peaceful protest. Now, but then protest is supposed to be done within the remit of the law. And when it's done within the remit of the law, then it fits to be a protest. Do you understand that? So the qualification is what I don't understand. But then, when we say peaceful protest, now or should I say it's conditional. Now, if the police do not act out of responsibility, then we are going to have a peaceful protest. If we also do not act out of our role, then we are going to have a peaceful protest. So it does not only lie on us to hold a peaceful protest, but it lie on the police as well, because they are also citizens. They are not. They can't act as if they are un-Ghanaians. They are Ghanaians. So they are part of the protest, and they should show us. So when the police confront my people or the crowd or the citizens, and then they also maybe push back or defend themselves, then you put it out there that it is a violent protest. No. We can use this as a basis or a benchmark to qualify protest. This protest is not a clamorous demonstration. It is a demonstration, and demonstration has been assessed by research and placed in constitutional remit, so that when we are having a demonstration, we know that it is the right of the individual. So you can't qualify protest. You can't qualify demonstration.
Okay,
You get it?
Over the years.
Thank you very much. That's one of the lead conveners of this protest. They're calling themselves Concerned Citizens Against Galamsey. He's been sharing with us what the engagement between them and the Ghana Police Service was just before it started. Of course, let's get closer to the larger crowd there, who have paused, jamming to some music. Most of them are holding their placards as well. And then, of course, significantly, they're holding this. You can see this big banner that's been held. And then they already explained the significance of this banner, that this is a river, a very polluted river, which has been polluted by Galamsey. And you can see children drinking this water as well. So, of course, all work and no play, they say, makes Jack a dull boy. So, as you can hear them, they've paused and jamming to some good music.
Demonstration ongoing there. My colleague Kenneth Jesse just engaging some of the leaders of the group. Some of the key concerns they've raised is that they want to ensure that government respect their rights. They say that this protest would go on from now till the 5th of October as they hope to help pressure on government to release the protesters arrested during the Stop Galamsey Now protest. They are not alone because really a lot of people have waded into this conversation. Alan Tremantin, leader of Movement for Change, also wants the protesters to be released. We heard from the Attorney General yesterday, and he served notice that anyone behind bars as a result of issues regarding illegal mining should be prosecuted within a 1-month period. And so we're also seeing a lot of calls from civil society as well, individuals pressing government to ensure that they release these protesters. But will government heed their calls? Will government bow to pressure? That's a question that we would ask our guests when they join us. We have now Robert Akoto Amalfo. He is a former executive director of Amnesty International Ghana. He joins us via Zoom here on Newsdesk. Now, you've watched the protest so far. Your reaction?
Thank you very much for having me, and I'm happy to join you on this very important topic. I think it is very necessary. It is at the right time that it's being done. Globally, there is a call on climate change and the impact of human activity on spoiling or degrading the environment. And this is impacting, as a human rights activist and advocate, it impacts on various rights that we cannot fathom, for people who live close to the water, the fact that they are denied access to clean water they can use to do various activities that makes them human is concerning. The fact that government has a responsibility to ensure that each individual has access to this natural space to be able to coexist with nature and live freely is being hampered. And we are impacted by getting access to drinkable water. We've seen examples that have been shown on how people are getting this kind of dirty water from their taps. And we don't know what contaminations are in this water. I had some conversations around some of these chemicals and its impact on the people living within the community where these things are being done. And so it's important that we protest because we don't see any change happening. Protest is a right, and it is not something that's supposed to be given to us or told us we can't do it. We can protest, and we should protest. And we are not protesting only because we are talking about now, but we're talking about our future. And the UN just adopted what we call the Pact of the Future, which includes ensuring a safe environment for all. And our president was the last person to speak at the UN, emphasizing the importance of these things. So it's very necessary that this protest is being done.
Well, this protest is happening because we're trying to drum home the need for government to declare a state of emergency on our water bodies as a result of the impact of illegal mining. We've heard from institutions like the Pharmaceutical Association of Ghana serving notice that Ghana in future may be compelled to import water to manufacture drugs here in the country. The Ghana Water Company also served notice that we might be forced to import water for domestic use in future because they're spending 3 times as much to purify water. You are a former executive director of Amnesty International. I see that you're in the heart of this issue because you have also served warning that you need these protesters released. But what would we say to individuals who feel that the lawlessness displayed by protesters is not the way to go?
I think, yes, we don't condone and connive and ask people to be lawless. But I'm also looking at the urgency of the matter and what is getting the attention of the government to do something. The idea that, of course, if people, we've seen protests in other countries, all sorts of things have happened. And if the government is really in a position where they are saying, we don't want these things to happen, we want to see a change, we need to see a major move from the government. And that is why it's important that people are asking for a state of emergency, especially on our water bodies, because it is an urgent matter. And if government is not making any move, all we are hearing is, oh, we are talking, we are having conversations. No, that's not what we are talking about. We are talking about a major move that will show that there is a change, because this is not a matter of today. I mean, the president wished his position away long time ago to end Galamsey, and we haven't seen any change. He hasn't stopped his position as president. He's still in the position, and Galamsey is still ongoing, and it's even causing more harm. So if there have been promises, there have been times when people have said things to give us hope that something will change. There have been some sort of shady moves to get things solved, but we haven't seen any significant change. Then it will cause people who are concerned about the future of our youth, our children. What water are they going to drink? What water bodies are they going to have in the environment? Some of us, and I know most of the government officials, the ministers and all of that, they visit other countries where we have water bodies in the middle of town and it's clean. People sit by these water bodies to read, animals are able to get some water to drink. You know, it's part of nature. But we don't see our society having that, because we are having this mining on our water bodies causing harm. So people will protest. People may take adverse means to get the understanding and the hearing of the government. And it is not that, like I said, some of us as human rights advocates are asking for that to happen, of lawlessness. But we expect that if we don't hear anything, people will take the law into their hands. And I don't think that is what the government wants. So we are asking that within the period that they have been asked to act, they should take a major action that shows us that they are really committed to this thing that we are talking about. Otherwise, of course, people will do all sorts of things. We have seen protests where people have burnt themselves up in the Arab Spring. So it's about making sure that if you love your people and you want to make sure that these things do not happen, it doesn't get to the extent of people breaking the law, then you as a government or as a person in charge of this thing, take an action that will inform us that we are really committed to this cause.
And then there's another concern really about the silence of government. Organized labor, they serve notice that within 7 days they'll withdraw their services nationwide. It's an indefinite strike that they're embarking on because they want government to declare a state of emergency. The president put his presidency on the line when he started this administration. And so people are quite concerned about his silence. We recall that the GJA president addressed him during the GJA Awards, hoping to see some sort of response from the president. He remained silent. What would you propose the approach of government be in this situation?
First of all, I really agree with the state of emergency on our water bodies and all mining halted, because our water bodies, we've seen it before, where there was, like I mentioned, the shady act that was taken some time ago, where some people did some action and then there was a little halt on it. We saw there was a change in the water bodies. There were pictures showing, there were media outlets that showed that, you know, in the short period that people stopped all these actions, or there were these military people that went to stop all these things, the water bodies changed. The new water came in, and the water, we had some sort of clearness in the water, which means that if we take similar actions now and make it long term, and we sit down and rather think, okay, now this Galamsey is a problem for us and is continually destroying our water bodies, this is illegal mining. What are the actions we need to take? We need to halt everything, think through a workable strategy, and then come back to see, even for those who have legal licenses to mine, to say, okay, now this is the strategy to ensure that if you are doing legal mining at a point in time, that somebody does not come and set up something by your mining and cause harm. This is the strategy. But you can't continue a problem or something that you can put a hold on and say that we are thinking about a strategy. It doesn't work. You need to put a halt, let the water get its freshness back. Now we go back to think about what strategies can we use to move on. And for the president's attitude, of course, there's 3 months for him to end his term. I mean, we see a dead good response to this. And I mean, I'm not surprised, because he's ending his term. Everything is like, okay, I mean, let's see who wins and the person take up the problem. That's the kind of attitude I see from his office now, that this is not something that they really, because if it is something that, like I said, I am just from the UN, where we did this, and there were promises made by the president as well. There are promises made by various governments around the world to ensure that climate is kept for the future. The part of the future is something that is important that every government committed to in the UN just about last week. So I hope that the president does not look at this as, this is my last 3 months or few months, so I'm waiting for whoever comes take over the problem. But at least because he made that promise at the beginning and he didn't fulfill it, I hope that he sees this as an opportunity to redeem his image. I don't think he wants to end his government and go and we say that this is a president that came and said he would want to end Galamsey with his presidency and didn't do it. And at the last minute when it became a problem for him before he leaves, he did nothing about it as well again. So we are hoping that this changes, something happens, a drastic act changes. He has the executive power to make executive decisions. He, together with his cabinet, can make a decision to say, with the executive instrument or an executive power to say, we are putting a hold on this. We are saying that we want to think about it through before we go ahead, because elections is coming. Our attention is going to change on who is doing what campaign and all of that. And this Galamsey is going to continue whilst this issue of elections take the media and take the space. I don't know if maybe one of the actions that we'll take as citizens is to say, if we don't see any change, we are not voting. We are not voting for any government who is coming for anything. If the political parties, the flag bearers are not saying anything, we are not going to the ballot box. If you are not, even the vice president who's already in power, we don't see any move from your end calling on your president to make a change. I hope the young people of today, like we've seen many actions around the world, where young people have taken action. In Kenya, we just saw it just not long ago, where they moved the whole government for the president to change the whole cabinet. We can also do it. If we want the future of our water bodies and our environment to be safe, we have to stand and say, this elections, look, if you do not make a major move, we are not voting. And I really support the move of the labor union to say we are going on strike. It's a big thing because we are not seeing the impact, because it's now we can get water to drink, like the pharmaceutical council is saying. Now we can get water to drink, but what about the future? Our young people who are coming, what happens to them? And that is the key issue that we need to also pay attention to. Young people listening to me or listening to this thing now, it is all of us our responsibility to call the president's attention. Social media is a key tool we can use as advocacy. Let's step up and call our government to do something about this.
Thank you, Robert Akoto. He is a former executive director of Amnesty International. Meanwhile, the co-chair of Ghana Extractive Industry have also been speaking to us here on the Joy News channel. He's saying that he's optimistic that the fight against illegal mining can be won if the president issues a disclaimer not to interfere with the work of security agencies when perpetrators are caught. Speaking at a dissemination workshop on the 2021-22 Mining, Oil and Gas Report in Sunyani, Dr. Stephen Mantiel insisted that the current efforts against the menace are a pretense, and since those in power are failing to deal with it themselves, we then have to rise up as citizens. There's more in this report by Precious Semevo.
Ghana Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative (GATI) dissemination workshop provided stakeholders with an overview of the latest findings, recommendations and progress within the mining, oil and gas sectors, which are crucial to the economic development of Ghana. Co-chair of GATI, Dr. Steve Mantiel, said the reports are key in promoting transparency, accountability and good governance in Ghana's extractive industries, but also concerned with the impact of Galamsey on the environment. He said progress could be made in the Galamsey fight if the president would allow the security agencies the free hand to work by issuing a disclaimer not to get involved when perpetrators are caught.
Those who have the power and authority to deal with the problem are themselves the perpetrators or beneficiaries of the illegalities. And so I believe that if the president will actually issue a disclaimer of not getting involved in the work of the security agencies and allowing them the free space to operate, so that when somebody gets caught, no political actor calls the police or the military to plead, then I believe that we'll make substantial progress in the fight against Galamsey. If we can set an example of one DCE, and if we can set an example of a minister whose alleged involvement in Galamsey is investigated, and where evidence is adduced to prove his involvement, put before court and imprisoned, all ministers will set up. But these things can only happen if the president gives way.
He said he doesn't believe in the complete banning of small-scale mining.
I do not believe in the wholesale banning of small-scale mining. We did that in 2018. We banned all forms of mining, small-scale mining, both legal and illegal. And in that year, our small-scale production shot up. It was our highest ever. And so I believe that if you continue to do the same thing all the time, you get the same results. I have reason to believe that any banning of small-scale mining wholesale will only create a facade for a small group to take advantage of and mine. You and I will not be there. They will mine, and you see the effect in the levels of production of small-scale mining in this country.
Precious Semevo, Joy News, Sunyai.
The Association of Small-Scale Miners is reactivating its task force to fight against illegal mining on river bodies while guarding against washing mining residues in rivers. Now, under the renewed fight, the small-scale miners will double the number of task force to check the illegality. Nayal Jima caught up with the leaders of the association after a meeting in Kumasi. He filed this report.
The small-scale mining task force, which was financed by the sector association, was backed by the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, led by Professor Frimpong Boateng. The committee provided logistics to the task force to chase out persons dredging the country's rivers for gold. In the Ashanti, Western and Eastern regions, over 1,000 Shamfan boats were destroyed. Despite the resilience and dedication towards the fight, the recalcitrant dredgers, after escaping arrest, returned. Ashanti Region PRO of the Small Scale Miners Association, Arafat Suleimana, speaks of some gains recorded.
We've already embarked on operations on the Birim River, where we were trying to make sure that we rid it of any illegal miner who is sitting on the Birim River, which is causing the turbidity. And we were able to chalk a lot of successes there. Turbidity that was at 2,000, we were able to bring it down to 50. And our coordination with the Ghana Water Company within the district was so good that anytime the turbidity goes to even 200, they would actually indicate our task force. We'll go back and rid them off. So this is a wake-up call for us to come to a meeting, decide on what actions to take on all the water bodies that we found dredgers and chamfan operators who are sitting on the water bodies and destroying them. So we decided to come on a meeting today, discuss the issues at hand and see how we'll go by it, and then come together and make sure that we will actually rid the rivers of any illegal operator who is sitting on the river bodies and causing the turbidity to be high.
The small-scale miners are worried about the threat posed by the heightened illegality to the sector. In the renewed fight, the association is hoping to deploy its task force to all river bodies concurrently, with zonal task forces in active operation. Mr. Suleimana again.
So to sustain the sector, we intend to make sure that we increase the numbers of our task force members and also go on to make sure that they are, they are available on every river body, monitoring it and making sure. Even now, we want further. We are coordinating with our zonal executives, and then within the mining space, our zones are like administrative districts, what other people call political districts. Those are our zones, and our zonal executives are also setting up task forces. I am in my community. I know where somebody will be sitting to do illegal operations. If I am coming from Kumasi to go to say Manson Kwanta, I wouldn't know where they may be. So we are coordinating with our district executives, and that is why you see all of our zonal executives are here today.
Meanwhile, the association says concerns of organized labor and other groups on the environmental dangers associated with illegal mining are genuine. They say the renewed fight will also focus on sanitizing activities of members who are washing mining residue into river bodies.
If you are washing and you are releasing your, your water directly into the river bodies, you are warned, because when we are coming after you. We intend to trace any water that goes into the river body that is turbid, that is like dirty to some extent. We will trace it back to wherever the source is. So if you are a miner today and you are mining and you are doing what is illegal, or you are doing something wrong, which is polluting our river bodies, we are sending a word of caution to you.
For Joy News, Nana Ojima, Kumasi.
Away from illegal mining, President Akufo-Addo has reiterated his commitment to ensure a free and fair, peaceful election in the December polls. He disclosed that though he wants the NPP presidential candidate, Dr. Bawumia, to win, he will not subvert the will of the people.
President Akufo-Addo won our meeting with the clergy, Muslim clerics, members of the Upper West Regional House of Chiefs, and some community leaders in the Upper West region hinge on 3 fronts. First is to thank the people of the Upper West region and the country at large for the honor done him to be the president of the country and their continued cooperation, which has brought relative peace to the country. Second is to tout the achievements of his administration, and lastly, to urge the people to vote for the flag bearer of the MPP, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, to be president to continue his good works.
What we have done in this region, in education, in health, in road infrastructure, in agriculture, in the industrial development of our country. And I have, with modesty, but also with pride, I can say that in all these areas, I have improved considerably the state of affairs in the Upper West region compared to what I inherited in 2017.
President Akufo-Addo touched on the implementation of the free senior high school policy, which has given opportunity to major students to benefit, improvement in the quality of education in the country, and expansion of infrastructural projects.
The road network in the Upper West region has increased from 5,797.41 kilometers in 2016 to 6,741.8 kilometers by the end of 2022. This reflects, by the end of 2022, these figures do not include the expansion that has been recorded in 2023 as well as what is going on in 2024. But even then, by 2016, 2022, we're seeing a 16% growth in the expansion of the road network in the Upper West. They include asphaltic overlays. They include the completion of some notable roads, Wa, Hain, Kaliu, Sankana, Takpo, Wa, Viera, Nadoli, Laura, Hamile. And now we've also seen the first tarred road to the border, Hamile border.
Despite the significant achievements that he touted about, he considered that there's still more to be done.
There's still a lot of work to be done, but that work has begun and we will continue to do it. Especially, you can be sure that if you listen to my plea and allow my vice president to come and stand here in my shoes, that work will be completed.
Though he sees Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as his anointed successor, he will not make any attempt to subvert the will of the people.
While the presidential candidate of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama, is continuing his tour of the Northeast region, and he's heading towards Buprungu and its environs, seeking to garner support in the governing New Patriotic Party presidential candidate, Dr. Bawumia backyard. Maxwell Agbagba is embedded with the team. He joins us live with more. Maxwell, what's happening as we speak? Maxwell, you have to unmute for me to hear you clearly. Just tell us where you are right now and what's happening.
Yeah, hello, Dr. Loud
and clear now. Please make your point.
Yeah, so the NDC flag bearer is continuing with its tour today at the Northeast region. Remember that it started a tour yesterday, and today we have quite a number of places of the visitors. The first port of call here is in Yankpanduri, where the advancing has just arrived. After that, there'll be a community engagement at the Yankpanduri Park, the Binturu constituency, and then there'll be another community there as well. About 6 activities we expect to undertake today during the tour of the Northeast region. Yesterday, I interacted with some executives of the party here in the Northeast region, and they told me that they are poised to win all 6 parliamentary seats in the region. The NDC currently holds 2 seats with the NPP holding 4. The regional communications officer of the party, Alhassan Gafari, and the deputy regional youth organizer, Safar Kayande, say it is possible for them to win all 6 seats, because the NPP presidential candidate, Dr. Mohamed Ibrahim, who hails from this region, has failed the people. And he says the NDC is working very hard to bring back 4 seats, making a total of 6 seats in the Northeast region in the December election. Now, yesterday, the NDC flag bearer arrived in Valley. He was welcomed by supporters. He was welcomed by supporters, many of them sitting on motorbikes, some of them waving the flag, and some of them just the sign of change as he entered the Wali community.
Maxwell Agbawa there, we had to cut that. We apologize for the poor sound quality. You're still watching News Next. We'll be back after this break. Well, many thanks for your time here on News 6. That's how we wrap up the bulletin. For more news, please log on to myjohnline.com. Good afternoon.